Beneath a thin layer of soil, a few centimeters below the surface, a city is already awake. Thousands of ants move through tunnels carved into the earth, each carrying food, soil, or the scent of information itself. There are no spoken orders, no leaders directing traffic, no master plan visible to any individual, yet nothing collapses into chaos. Paths form, workers organize, resources flow exactly where they are needed. This shouldn't work. No animal with a brain this small should be able to coordinate thousands of individuals, build complex nests, or solve problems collectively without supervision. But ants do it constantly. A single ant is limited, nearly blind, and capable of following only simple behavioral rules. Alone, it achieves almost nothing. Together, they form something entirely different. Scientists describe an ant colony as a superorganism, a living system where each ant functions like a cell in a larger body. The colony gathers food, regulates temperature, defends itself, raises young, and adapts to change without any central control. This trail is where the story begins, a line of pheromones laid across the ground, invisible to us but precise enough to guide thousands of workers between nest and food. Each ant strengthens or weakens the trail through its actions, turning individual decisions into collective intelligence. But this behavior is only one part of a much larger cycle, a system repeated across forests, grasslands, deserts, and cities on nearly every continent on Earth. Ants occupy almost every terrestrial ecosystem except Antarctica, and their combined biomass may be roughly comparable to that of all wild mammals. At any moment, trillions of ants are farming fungi, hunting insects, engineering soil, and reshaping environments beneath our feet. This is not a story about simple insects acting automatically. It is about one of the most successful social systems ever to evolve, built without rulers, sustained without plans, and refined over more than 100 million years of evolution. This is the hidden world of ant colonies. A single ant nest may seem small, but at its core, it is a desert of complexity. The soil above and around it is often dry, compacted, and filled with threats, predators, floods, temperature swings, and competition from neighboring colonies. The tunnels themselves never stop changing. Workers dig, reinforce, and collapse passages as the colony grows, creating chambers for nurseries, food storage, and waste that stretch meters underground. The colony exists in a delicate balance. Too much digging and it risks collapse. Too little and it cannot support the queen, the brood, or the workers that maintain the system. The danger is constant. Predators like spiders, beetles, or other ants raid the nest. Rain can flood chambers. Heat can desiccate brood. Yet life persists. The ants endure not by chance, but through evolution fine-tuned over more than 100 million years. Every worker, every trail, every interaction is a compromise with their environment. The colony survives because it is built to withstand instability, soil shifts, seasonal changes, and sudden threats, all while maintaining the functions of a living superorganism. They farm fungi, harvest honeydew, care for larvae, and coordinate raids with precision that no single ant fully understands. They thrive in challenging conditions that would be difficult for many solitary insects, expending considerable energy and taking risks that few other social species face. This is the world beneath our feet, where survival demands cooperation, resilience, and an intelligence spread across thousands of bodies rather than held in one brain. While other insects disperse to avoid competition or survive harsh conditions, ants do the opposite. They begin their reproductive cycle when risks are highest. Winged males and virgin queens leave the safety of the nest during specific environmental triggers, often after rain or when temperature and humidity reach species-specific thresholds. For most creatures, these conditions are dangerous. For ants, it is the only moment when the colony can expand. The logic is harsh but precise. Queens must mate during the nuptial flight, a brief window when males from other colonies are in the air. If they wait too long, opportunities vanish and reproduction fails. If they act too early, predators and weather can wipe them out, so they travel at just the right moment. In a coordinated, almost choreographed movement, males and females take to the air, sometimes forming swarms of thousands above the nest. Each queen mates with one or more males, storing enough sperm to fertilize millions of eggs over her lifetime. Once mated, the males die, having completed their single purpose. The queens land, shed their wings, and begin digging a new nest, often alone. The founding queen must establish a colony from scratch, laying the first brood and feeding them from her own reserves. This is where the real ordeal begins. The the survival of the next generation depends entirely on her endurance, resourcefulness, and the efficiency of the tiny workers she raises. For weeks, the founding queen remains alone in darkness, laying the first eggs and tending them with nothing but her own reserves of energy. Her metabolism slows, her fat stores shrink, and she survives on what little she can digest from her own body. Meanwhile, the environment outside grows unpredictable. Floods, temperature swings, predators, and competing colonies threaten every movement. To survive, the colony relies on one of nature's most elegant solutions: cooperation. This isn't chaos, it's a dynamic, self-organizing system. Workers rotate tasks, nursing larvae, foraging, cleaning, defending, so no single individual bears the burden for long. There is no leader giving commands. The colony maintains itself through constant, distributed effort. Inside the nest, temperature and humidity are regulated with remarkable precision. Outside, conditions may be lethal: extreme heat, cold, or dryness. Life persists in that narrow balance between survival and collapse. Each worker performs its role reliably enough to sustain the nest, with the colony's redundant structure compensating for individual errors. Day after day, week after week, the tiny tasks compound, and slowly the first generation of workers emerges, small but functional. Once they are active, the colony's survival becomes a group effort. Older workers forage, defend, and expand tunnels, while younger ants care for the next brood. Even in a system this efficient, danger remains. Predators raid, tunnels collapse, and resources dwindle. Those that survive continue the cycle, strengthening the colony and allowing it to thrive in a hostile environment. The founding queen's hardest phase is over, but for the new workers and the brood they care for, the struggle is only beginning. The soil thaws, the rain returns, and the environment begins to shift. Winter is loosening its grip, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, the world above ground becomes habitable again. Seeds germinate, fungi grow, and small insects emerge. Day by day, conditions improve. The colony responds, tunnels expand, foragers venture farther, and the first coordinated raids begin. What was once a quiet, constrained nest becomes a hub of activity. New chambers are dug, waste is cleared, and the colony stretches its reach into the surrounding ecosystem. Life within the nest thrives again. Survival is still a struggle, but the balance tips in favor of growth. The colony breathes, moves, and reshapes itself in response to its environment, taking advantage of a brief season of opportunity that will not last long. Outside the nest, the forest floor, meadow, or desert teems with life. Tiny plants sprout, producing nectar and seeds. Insects awaken in swarms. These resources become the foundation of the ant colony's survival. Workers harvest seeds, tend sap-sucking insects, collect nectar, and bring it back to the nest. Timing is everything. If they arrive too early, resources are scarce. If too late, competitors have claimed them. Every action of the colony is synchronized with the rhythm of the ecosystem. Ants don't just live in the environment, they shape it. By farming fungi, dispersing seeds, and controlling insect populations, they dictate the flow of energy through the food web. The return of abundance is not just survival, it is a cascade of life, a network of interactions that sustains the colony and the countless species that rely on it. As the seasons shift, the edges of the colony awaken. The first workers emerge from the inner chambers, scouting nearby territory. Small, agile, and precise, they forage for food, mapping the landscape with chemical trails and tactile memory. They carry seeds, nectar, and small insects back to the nest, each item part of a constant negotiation between need and risk. Farther from the main nest, satellite colonies begin their own cycles. Some specialize in scavenging, others in tending sap-sucking insects or cultivating fungi. Their activity is flexible, responsive to the availability of resources, and attuned to the rhythm of the environment. Every forager, every brood tended, every tunnel dug is calibrated to the pulse of the ecosystem. Too early, and food is scarce. Too late, and competitors claim the best resources. Timing, cooperation, and responsiveness determine survival, and these outer colonies often function in close coordination with the main nest, though they may also operate independently. And the world outside the nest is full of danger. Spiders, beetles, ants from rival colonies, and other predators patrol the terrain, hunting opportunistically. Some lie in ambush near tunnels, others raid open foraging lines, and still others exploit weaknesses in the colony's defenses. Different species specialize in different strategies. Some attack brood, some target workers, some overwhelm with numbers. They are the rulers of this miniature ecosystem, and the changing season gives them the freedom to hunt. For the colony, this is a season of risk and reward, a brief window when the environment is rich enough to support expansion, but dangerous enough to test coordination, defense, and survival. Deep inside the nest, younger workers tend larvae and maintain chambers, unaware of the battles being fought above. These two timelines, the vulnerable brood underground and the foraging workers outside, must align perfectly for the colony to survive. It is one of the reasons no two colonies behave exactly alike. Their strategies are written not only by genetics but by geography, by the rhythm of the environment, and by the interplay of danger and opportunity that shapes every living thing within this miniature world. What happens next depends on where the ants establish their nests, and nowhere is this more dramatic than in the massive supercolonies found across continents. These are the South Georgias of the ant world, a single interconnected system stretching for miles, teeming with life. Here, conditions are unusually favorable: abundant food, stable soil, and climate that supports year-round activity. Nutrients flow upward through plants, seeds, and smaller insects, creating one of the richest terrestrial environments on Earth. For the colony, this is a supermarket on an epic scale, supporting millions of individuals. And at the heart of it, in the central chambers and outer expansions of the supercolony, workers move in synchronized waves. From a distance, the nest looks like a single living surface, an undulating tide of black, brown, and red. Up close, the scale is staggering. Millions of ants navigate tunnels, forage across the landscape, tend larvae, and defend the colony simultaneously. The activity of countless workers produces subtle rustling and movement, a quiet rhythm of coordinated effort across the colony. Not all ant colonies live like the founding nests we left behind. Some, particularly those in rich, stable environments, follow a different approach. These megacolonies, or long-established nests, do not face constant threats from collapse, drought, or predation. They don't struggle daily to survive the harshest conditions. Instead, their strategy revolves around an ecosystem that never runs dry. These colonies expand on fertile soil, abundant with food and moisture year-round. Their tunnels are well maintained, their chambers secure, and their growth is slow but steady. Some nests raise multiple generations at once, while others stagger reproduction to optimize resource use. While smaller, high-risk colonies must produce workers quickly, these stable colonies can gradually grow to hundreds of thousands of ants, and in exceptional species, even millions. The workers move like a city, negotiating space within tunnels, maintaining chambers, and tending larvae with careful precision. Juveniles cluster together while older workers forage, scouting the surrounding landscape for seeds, insects, nectar, and fungus. Where life is concentrated, predators follow. Spiders, beetles, and ants from rival colonies patrol the edges, scanning for weaknesses. For these outlier colonies, survival is not about endurance through extreme danger, but about numbers, organization, and the productivity of their environment. Their strategy is simple yet effective: raise brood steadily, feed them well, and sustain the colony long enough for the next cycle to begin. Not all ants live in massive, stable nests. On the edges of forests, deserts, or urban landscapes, colonies exist in fragmented, unpredictable environments. These are not the giant supercolonies or densely packed meganests. These are smaller, isolated colonies where soil is shallow, moisture fluctuates, and predators or competitors arrive without warning. Conditions change rapidly: heat, cold, rain, floods, and human activity all shape survival. Yet this fringe is where most ant species thrive. They avoid the extremes of deep forest floors or inhospitable deserts. They survive by adapting to whatever the environment throws at them. Here, evolution favors flexibility, speed, and resilience. Farther out, terrain becomes rough, rocky, and steep. These are the territories of highly agile ant species, like certain weaver ants or rock-dwelling species. Their approach to survival is simple but daring. Navigate vertical surfaces, leap between rocks, and nest in crevices that seem almost impossible to reach. The effort is worth it. Elevated or concealed nests protect them from most predators and flooding. Nearby, resources are abundant: nectar, seeds, insects, waiting to be harvested by nimble workers. These ants do not rely on predictable soil or a stable climate. Some fringe species rely on agility, speed, and quick decision-making, traits that let them survive in habitats that many other species avoid. Their constant motion and responsiveness keep them ahead of changing conditions and predators, allowing these fringe colonies to flourish at the edge of possibility. Then the terrain shifts again. In temperate regions, soil is rich, vegetation tall, and conditions more forgiving than harsh deserts or rocky cliffs. Several ant species overlap here, each exploiting the land in a different way. Some dig deep burrows to protect their brood underground, ensuring survival through variable seasons. Others build shallow nests in leaf litter, allowing quick expansion and mobility when resources appear. In good years, these regions provide something rare, long, mild seasons that make raising young far easier and allow multiple generations to develop in a single season. Agile, opportunistic species take full advantage, constantly exploring and expanding into newly available areas. Across other fragmented habitats, rocky outcrops, riverbanks, fallen logs, and urban edges, ants face new challenges: shifting soil, unpredictable weather, and competition from neighboring colonies. Yet somehow, thousands make it work, each colony adapting its nesting strategies and foraging patterns to local conditions. In these fringe zones, survival is a delicate balance of flexibility, timing, and coordination, with every brood, tunnel, and worker playing a crucial role. Today, global climate change and human activity are altering ecosystems at a pace that surprises even scientists. Soil dries in areas that once held consistent moisture, vegetation patterns shift, and previously stable nesting sites now collapse, flood, or become inhospitable. Ant colonies respond immediately, adjusting tunnels, shifting foraging routes, and reallocating workers to ensure brood survival. Species that once thrived in predictable microhabitats now face disrupted cycles, with some struggling to reproduce at all. Colonies that depended on consistent rainfall, temperature, or seasonal cues for brood development must find new ways to survive, and many shrink in size or disappear entirely from locations they once dominated. Adaptation is no longer optional, it is survival. The changing environment tests not only the resilience of individual ants, but the coordination, decision-making, and flexibility of the entire colony, and those that cannot respond quickly risk being left behind as the world around them moves faster than evolution alone can keep up. Some ant species, however, see opportunity in change. Agile, opportunistic species adjust relatively quickly when local conditions shift, while others may respond more slowly. As forests expand, deserts recede, rivers flood and dry, or urban areas create new niches, these species move into territories that were once inhospitable. Their rapid spread shows just how quickly ants can adapt and how quickly the environment itself is reshaping around them. Other species fall somewhere in between. Some specialize in very specific prey, soil types, or symbiotic relationships with plants, fungi, or other insects. Their survival is tightly linked to the abundance and stability of those resources. When those resources decline, their colonies shrink, brood production slows, and workers must stretch their labor further to survive. The landscape becomes a lesson in contrasts: expansion for some, contraction for others, all unfolding simultaneously. The stress looks different for each species, but the direction is the same. The environment is shifting faster than many species can fully adapt, forcing rapid decisions and testing the resilience of even the most established colonies. Some colonies will migrate into entirely new ranges, seeking safer soil, richer vegetation, or better food sources. Some will survive by altering their behavior, switching diets, digging deeper nests, or sending scouts to find untapped resources. Some may vanish from areas they once dominated, unable to compete with rivals or cope with changing microclimates. Many ant species exist at the ecological limits of what their environment allows, while others thrive in more stable conditions. But now, the limits themselves are moving, reshaping where life can thrive. Every species must make critical decisions, follow the change, adapt in place, or face local extinction. Survival is no longer just a matter of endurance, cooperation, or colony size. It is a test of flexibility, foresight, and rapid response in a world that will not wait. Even the most resilient ants must navigate a shifting landscape where yesterday's strategies may no longer work, and where success depends on timing, resourcefulness, and the ability to sense opportunity as it emerges.